our DOJ is corrupt. They're working to imprison their biggest threat in this next election, being Donald Trump, of course, and to cover up this obvious atrocity, they're going after a few inconvenient Democrats as a big distraction. And as all these indictments go flying around between Menendez and Cuellar, remember this same DOJ verified Hunter Biden's laptop and its contents, an absolute dumpster fire of crime and corruption, crimes exactly the same as what we're seeing alleged of Henry Cuellar. And they knew all this a full year before our election and immediately went to work to protect Joe Biden, as he was the best chance to oust Donald Trump. The DOJ wanted nothing to do with the Joe Biden corruption scandal, one of the most clear-cut cases of political corruption we've ever seen, and again, so similar and so obvious and predictable. Recall IRS whistleblower Gary Shapley's testimony, claiming Assistant U.S. Attorney Leslie Wolf did not want to ask about the big guy, stating she didn't want any questions about Dad as they looked into Hunter Biden. The DOJ can make or kill any case it wants. In fact, DOJ could easily indict most members of Congress if they so desired. A perfect example is Nancy Pelosi. Could have been indicted dozens of times by now. She knows what's getting funded. She knows what's getting subsidized. She knows what's going to get crushed. She knows it all long before anyone else in Congress. She knows exactly what they're going to shove through the pipeline. Paul Pelosi sold $5 million in Alphabet options a week before Congress started discussing a major antitrust bill in big tech. Bought loads of NVIDIA before the CHIPS Act, and look where that stock has gone. Look how much stronger the Pelosi's are than the Dow. They crush it. They can't lose. It's because they cheat, and everybody knows it. And Congress is full of this kind of corruption. Look at all of these returns from some of these congressional members in both parties. The DOJ sees this. They do nothing. Everybody knows what's going on. They do nothing. It's clear-cut corruption. They'll certainly never touch Joe Biden or Nancy Pelosi. But look at what they're doing to Donald Trump. Lady Justice is blind. She's been dead for years. Dennis Prager joins me tonight, along with Seamus Bruner, who investigates government corruption. Good to see you guys. Thank you so much. I can hear my echo somewhere. Dennis, indictments for Henry Cuellar for the same, almost identical crime that we've seen with Joe Biden, and they're nowhere to be found on that. Your thoughts?
Well, I thought your monologue was so excellent. I don't have much to add except this large macro point. Even 5 years ago, but certainly 10 years ago and the rest of my life, I never thought of the U.S. government as corrupt. That there would be corrupt individuals anywhere is a given. The human condition is a flawed one. But at this point, whether it's the CDC, the NIH, the American Medical Association, universities, the DOJ, to be honest, I don't trust anything that they say. I'm not saying that everything they say is wrong. I just don't trust anything unless I can verify it. This is the contemporary American tragedy. At least half this country no longer believes in institutions in which they believed as recently as 5 or 10 years ago.
Yeah. That's a terrifying reality. And the government is so angry about that, and they deserve it. It's their fault. It's not ours. They get so mad at the people for questioning our institutions. It's your fault that we question them. Seamus, the Cuellar indictment, you know, the similarities, obviously, and here we're showing you what the Biden family corruption has looked like, you know, with China CEFC, an energy company in China, moving through all of these shell accounts. It's identical to the Cuellar indictment. And what that proves to me is that the DOJ knows damn well what the Bidens were doing. They know exactly what Joe Biden's been doing because they found somebody else with the exact same scheme. You start to wonder, how many other places is this scheme existing?
Yeah, Rob, you're exactly right. The opening monologue was perfect. It shows that this was never about Hunter Biden, this whole Biden corruption saga. And actually, it's not just about Joe Biden. This is a DOJ scandal because you're right. It is identical, except actually, it's a whole lot worse in the case of the Bidens. I mean, you've got several family members. In the Cuellar case, you've got the wife and 2 adult children who are participating in the scheme. In the Biden example, you've got brother Frank, brother Jim, Hunter, even Ashley Biden and her husband are on the take in various ways. And then it gets even worse when you consider the national security implications. I mean, Azerbaijan is one thing, but we're talking about the Chinese Communist Party funneling tens of millions of dollars to the now first family. Diamonds are being, shuttled around between Jim and Hunter. The whole thing reeks of corruption. And then you've got the national security implications of our number one adversary compromising the first family.
It's amazing. Dennis, I wonder how is, if we are expected to right the ship in this country, and I hope that we do, what would the DOJ have to do at this point to make people believe that they have any kind of integrity?
I don't think the people there at this time can right the ship. They have to be removed. I say this with sadness, but look, 51 heads of intelligence in the United States, a few weeks before the last presidential election, announced that the Hunter Biden laptop was probably Russian disinformation. I'll give you one example of how bad it's getting, not from our country, but it's the same thing. I've played on my radio show probably a dozen times the former Prime Minister of New Zealand, Jacinda Ardern, who is now properly teaching at Harvard. And she announced the following. I've memorized it because I heard it so often. If you do not hear it from the government, it is not true. The English-speaking Western countries are moving toward what the Soviet Union was. Yeah. If it isn't from the government, it isn't true. The Soviet Communist newspaper was named by Lenin Pravda. Pravda means truth in Russian. All truth comes from the government. The DOJ is the source of truth. Anything else is misinformation. This is an unprecedented moment in American history.
Seamus, final thoughts.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's time to impeach Joe Biden is the reality, because 18 U.S.C. Section 201, we've talked about this before, Rob, is the bribery statute. That is what Cuellar and his wife have been indicted under, and it says anything of value for any official action. It does not matter if money made it to Joe Biden's accounts, if it went to his son's accounts or his brother's accounts. That can still be bribery, as the Cuellar case proves. And so it's pretty much open shut on Ukraine. And then when you look at Cuellar's actions for Azerbaijan, it's a lot of talking and being favorable towards. Joe Biden has taken real official actions that benefit China. And certainly in the case of the Ukrainian prosecutor, that was official action. So we've got all we need here for a bribery indictment or charge of impeachment.
Yeah, we just don't have a credible DOJ, and we don't have Congress working in any kind of function, in any kind of capacity to actually have after what they did to Trump, for them to not have the gall to go after Biden for something this bad. It's just amazing to me. Dennis Prager, Seamus Bruner, we appreciate it, gentlemen. Thank you so much.
Thanks.